What's up, everybody? It is the DawgsHQ pregame show, and later on this evening, Georgia will host Ole Miss. It's a little wet out there right now, but it's supposed to dry up and kind of give us a break to play some football. Rusty, man, it's funny, dude. The schedule was supposed to be easy, and it was supposed to be pretty manageable last year once Georgia got past Oregon. Then you play the highest ranked game in Sanford Stadium history last year, and you're going to play one of them tonight.
You just never know, man. I'm telling you something. If the hair is not standing up on your arm or your back of your neck for this one, you're not in the right place and you're not on the right channel, because this is a big boy football game. This one checks every boxes. There's playoffs on the line. ESPN game days here. A bunch of big time recruits are here. It's Georgia. It's Ole Miss. It's a top 10 matchup. It's at night. You get to have the lights. You get the tailgate. Looks like the weather's going to hold off this afternoon, man. This one's one of those to talk about for a few years down the line, Jake.
That's right. And listen, throughout the day today, there will be makeshift porta potties made all the way around campus. There's going to be a lot of empty cans. It's going to be a big day for a lot of folks, and we're glad to everybody that is thankful for everybody who's joining us. Rusty, I always like to start off with this kind of throughout the week. What's been kind of your thought process on this game?
Well, I think the Brock Bowers news kind of overshadowed like X's and O's, and rightfully so, man. That's a big deal. And you and I both wrote on Friday that we do expect him to play tonight in some fashion. You know, we can sit here and guess what all, but he's going to dress out tonight. It'll be the last time he ever comes out of that tunnel in Sanford Stadium, man. And I think that it's going to be a special moment. But the impact and how much he's going to play has been kind of, I would say the majority of the news. But when we start getting into the X and O's, this is a really damn good football team, Ole Miss. It's a really good quarterback. Lane Kiffin's a great play caller. I thought Kirby Smart, kind of not calling out, but asking the crowd, how are you going to affect this game? What's going to be your involvement? I expect here in a couple hours that place is going to be unhinged. And I think when you look at it, I think it's very similar to Missouri. Can Georgia get enough stops against this team? And can Georgia score enough, which they have been doing, and can Georgia score enough to be on top at the end of this game tonight?
I tell you what, it's not what I expect, but what I've been thinking about all week long, it keeps popping in my head basically every day, is I'm not going to be surprised if we see buzzsaw Georgia tonight. It's not gonna surprise me at all. It's not because Ole Miss isn't good. It's just buzzsaw Georgia kind of pops up in times like these. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see that. Let's look at the injury situation. We've obviously talked about Brock Bowers. Going to be really surprised if he doesn't play. He's definitely going to dress out. Yeah. I'll be really surprised if he doesn't play a little bit. What else are we looking at as far as you know?
Obviously, Amarius Mims, and I don't think you're just going to put Amarius Mims at right tackle and say, hey, go get him. I think he's going to get some reps tonight. I think Xavier Truss is going to get some reps tonight as well there, kind of how things are going. But I mentioned it late Thursday night, man. Dylan Fairchild and what he has done to this offense, especially just 6'5", he's 320. He's the strongest player, from what I was told, the strongest bench presser on the team. He's a two-time heavyweight state champion wrestler in Georgia at 7A, and he got his opportunity, man. He has graded out fantastic. So you add him into the mix, and you really got about 7 or 8 linemen that you're confident in. But I did mention this. Amarius Mims is the highest rated NFL prospect, in that room for a reason. So if they get him back tonight, I think they will at some point. I was told he went through some one-on-ones this week, and, him coming off the tightrope surgery as well. So those are the two keys. Now, listen, Jake, you dig more into those X's and O's. I'm sure you thought about it more. What do they do for Pop being out? Pop's out with this forearm arm injury. What do they do there? Is it CJ Allen? Does Xavier Sorey, does he get some more reps tonight? Raylan Wilson. We talked about Raylan Wilson, starting to come along, and this guy was a number 1 rated linebacker in the country last year for on 3 for a reason. So, they got some depth there, but it's awfully young. How do they do this? And you got to know this, Jake. If you're Lane Kiffin, he's going to know they got some young bucks in positions. He's going to test those guys, some wheel routes, some things will put those guys in space and see what they can do.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, one note we've got over at DawgsHQ, and I don't mind sharing it. to get those guys ready this week. I'm told that there was quite a few number one first team reps with Wilson and CJ Allen, kind of throwing them out there, being like, hey, listen, we got to get you ready. This is y'all's show. You got to run it. And those two got some reps together at inside linebacker against.
They're basically not freshmen anymore.
Exactly. And
their freshman year is 75% done. And if they're 3 and out players, they're toward the end of their first year after both being here in January. They've been here a while.
Yeah. And not only both being here since January, but they were on campus about 5 or 6 minutes before you started to hear stuff about them too. So it wasn't long. Yeah. But yeah, those are big injuries. Obviously, I'm also, kind of trying to take a look, is Tyrone Ingram-Dawkins, he's not on the injury report for us, but is Tyrone Ingram-Dawkins a guy that, he's working himself into shape. He's played a lot of snaps the last couple of weeks. Can he play more? Can they get more out of him? How healthy are they? How healthy is CJ Allen's another thing? He's kind of dealing with that hamstring a little bit. So, yeah, we're definitely keeping an eye on the injury situation. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen with Amarius Mims, because Georgia, starting today, will play the 2 of the top 3 sack teams in the SEC in Ole Miss and Tennessee. Tennessee does it largely with, and they've got kind of a point guy on the thing. They've got, James Pierce. Whereas Ole Miss kind of does it by committee. The Ivy kid's a really good player, but he's got 5.5. They got another guy with 4.5, another guy with 4. They've got it. They do it all over the place. So getting Amarius Mims back and knocking that rust off early could be big in this game. What Rusty? What matchup are you highlighting for this one?
I think it's the old pickup basketball game. It's 3-on-3. It's Georgia's DBs versus these wide receivers for Ole Miss. Again, Kamari Lassiter, Julian Humphrey, and Dalen Everett, because they're going to get tested today, and they're going to get tested tonight tonight. And, Trey Harris is another freaking super freak at wide receiver. It seems like Georgia faces one of these guys every week. It's went from Eugene Wilson to Luther Burden to now this guy. And, and I think he had 200 on Texas A&M. Was that right? Yeah. He had a bunch of yards on Texas A&M. So, you look at Georgia and Kamari Lassiter has been shut down. Do they take Kamari Lassiter and say, hey, man to man, you got Trey Harris, and then try to make it work with Dalen Everett and Julian Humphrey there? So I certainly think Georgia showed something last week, and I think they realized the next 3 weeks they got to use this. Could it be pickup basketball 3-on-3? Georgia's corners and DBs against those wide receivers.
Yeah, and the reason you may not see as much of that 3 cornerback look is because you probably do want to increase your odds of getting Kamari Lassiter matched up on Trey Harris, and he had a huge game last week, and he's not by himself. They've got some really good wideouts. They're throwing the ball better than they have under Lane Kiffin. The reason I highlight that same matchup, Rusty, is because we're looking at a run game that's averaging about 180-something yards a game, about 4.5 yards a carry. That run game is the most explosive, is the most effective when they can hit a pop shot against you 25, 30 yards. And they can run up to the line of scrimmage and they can run a base run play right at you and gash you again. And then they'll run it and they'll do it again. And it's really hard to recover. They're good at that. And so I think that is something that Georgia's going to have to do its best to stay out of as often as possible. And, obviously when you hit those shots in the middle of the field, it opens up a chance to do that more than when you kind of hit them on the outside. All right, Rusty, final thoughts on this game. What are you you don't have to give me a prediction, but how do you think it's going to go?
I know that sometimes sound like a broken record, but man, Georgia's two-time defending national champs. They find ways to win games. You got to get in the ring. You got to go 4 quarters with Georgia. And, right now, I just think that you look at what Georgia's done in the second half with not only coaching adjustments, but the depth of Georgia. What's this going to be like, for Ole Miss at night in Sanford Stadium, fourth quarter? I just like Georgia's chances there with their depth on the offensive and defensive line to get some stops. Now, Ole Miss is going to score some points. You'd be crazy to think they're going to shut them down. But I still think that Georgia, when they just know how to win, Jake. I could sit here and ramble on for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The bottom damn line is this team knows how to win games. Are they going to win them all? At some point, they're going to lose one. But I don't think it's going to be in Sanford Stadium. And I like Georgia tonight.
You and I say that all the time about knowing how to win. Maybe that's this team's best trait. At some point, we're going to be wrong about it. I'm not saying it out of this is the team I cover, and by God, they can't be beaten. I'm just saying that that's who they are right now. And until somebody takes it away from them, you know, and Ole Miss is perfectly capable of taking away from them. I've got Georgia by 10, and I think it's going to be a little lower scoring than maybe Vegas thinks. You know, the over-under on this thing, I think, is 58.5 right now. I like it to kind of come through in the low 50s, maybe a 31-21 type game. And I know that's crazy to say that's a low-scoring game, but it's not a high-scoring game, you know, in today's college football. But that's kind of the way I like it. And honestly, I think this is going to be kind of a throw to open up the run thing for Georgia, similar to the Missouri game, and that Ole Miss is going to play them close. It's going to be tight, and then – you know, eventually, you know, the body blows and everything else just kind of gets to them and gets there. But listen, we'll have it all covered for you over at DawgsHQ. We'll have you a post-game show where we'll talk about the action. After it all happens, we'll have coverage throughout the game. And we certainly invite you guys to come on over to DawgsHQ and to hang out here on our Instagram. I'm sorry, not our Instagram, our YouTube channel.
What's that shirt you got on? What's that thing?
Yeah, this is the DawgsHQ.
Hey, can I get one of them?
Yeah, hey, I seem to remember. I think I got it from you, didn't I?
Can I grab one of them somewhere?
Yeah, I've seen you wearing it around. You ain't got to act like you ain't got it.
All right.
You probably got this shirt in 6 different colors.
It looks good on you, man.
You got a lime green color in this. I know you do. But hey, everybody, check us out after the game. Check us out next week. We got all sorts of programming for you. We appreciate you, and y'all take care.